Okay, I heard about this website a couple weeks ago. Oh, God damn it. The premise is bullshit on so many levels. Okay, the premise is you pay somebody to sequester carbon, and the way that they get you to do this is you take this little quiz in it, and it determines how much it should shame you into doing this. This is a terrible use of your money. I'm not even going to qualify that with, in my opinion, because it's a terrible use of your money. So if we look at, I think it was under here, our projects, planet-saving, life-changing projects. Oh my god. Okay, mineral weathering in Scotland. I love this one. Let's get to that. So biochar I actually like. Cutting edge process to turn the tree biomass into biochar? You mean you put it in a fucking kiln? And you pyrolyze it? That's how you do that. I'm actually in favor of doing this with carbonaceous trash, in general. So I feel here the scale that they're doing it in is inappropriate. But this one, the mineral weathering in Scotland, fucking hell. Okay, so this project adds crushed basalt to forest land, speeding up Earth's natural carbon cycle and sequestering carbon for millions of years. Okay, so what happens here is, oh yeah, I like this. These little visual trigger things. There's nothing happening here. This is garbage. Blah blah. Do you want to talk to me? Do you have questions? No, I don't. Go away. Okay, so what happens here is they're saying that the basalt will weather down and create sodium carbonate or calcium carbonate in the soil. I was thinking of like baking soda. Yeah, calcium carbonate in the soil. The problem with that is the way that it does that is the basalt has trace amounts of calcium and shit in it. And that, once it weathers out of the glassy material, that will combine eventually with atmospheric CO2 to form calcium carbonate in the soil. This is true. The problem is, in order to get like 1 pound of CO2 out of the atmosphere, you have to add like half a ton of basalt, and it's gonna take fucking like 50 years. Those numbers I'm kind of making up off the top of my head, but they're not that far off from the reality of it. Like, you can look it up and figure out what the actual numbers are, but the numbers are inappropriate. Like, this isn't doing anything. Right? I mean, it is, but it's not useful. This isn't useful. This is a waste of resources. And like that California biochar thing, this isn't the scale that we need this at. We need it at a higher scale. And okay, helps prevent wildfires in California's old-growth forest by removing dead and flammable trees and then turning them into biochar. I do like that, but it's not. It's certainly nowhere near enough. We should be doing. So if you have this process to produce biochar that doesn't put shit into the atmosphere, which is the whole problem with burning trash, right? Then you can also take carbonaceous trash and turn it into biochar without putting shit into the atmosphere. And that's actually quite simple, because it's just pyrolysis. You don't burn it. You don't have it in atmosphere. You don't have it exposed to oxygen. You have it isolated from oxygen and exposed to high heat. That's it. That's your cutting edge process. I guarantee you, some variation on that is their cutting edge process to produce biochar from trees. So as far as this goes, okay, but it's not far enough. They should take this farther. Anyway, here, let's go into this. Notice always up here it's like, oh, you give us money. I already took a quiz. Will it allow me to take another one? Shit. Maybe. Back to calculator? Okay. Well, sure. Let's do... Yeah, I'll just go with the same. How many cars does your household use? I mean, most of the time I don't drive at all, actually. So, one. I do own, like, 4, but I'm only one person, so I don't... They're for backup. Right. Like, so how many does it use? 1. Okay. That's fair. And yes, they're from the 70s, so they're gasoline. I do want to make it a hybrid, though, personally. And its mileage is actually really close to that. So far, we're getting there. How many miles do you drive each week? It can vary wildly, but probably on average, something like 50 to 100. So I'll go with 50. How many short flights does your household take each year? I never fly anywhere, so that's appropriate. How many long flights does your household take each year? I don't fly anywhere, so 0. What is your household's diet like? Even the food you eat has a carbon footprint, but plants have smaller ones. Yeah, I'm not fucking vegan. How often does your household eat red meat? This is honestly probably high, but meh. How often does your household eat chicken, pork, seafood, or eggs per week? These foods usually have similar carbon footprints. Yeah, it's... So, like, I raise rabbits and quail, and the quail produce eggs, and I eat the quail, and I eat the rabbits. But it's not that frequent, and other than that, I very rarely buy meat to eat, so... Yeah, something like that. See, it's not appropriate because I farm some of my own food. So, like, the carbon emissions are going to be different, even if it's the same kind of food, because, you know, like when I butcher a rabbit, it has lower carbon emissions than a chicken because it's not shipped anywhere. And it's not having to be cooled, it's not having to be packaged. It, you know, like, there's a whole bunch of overhead that doesn't have to occur because I butchered it on site and ate it pretty much immediately. And whatever waste they produce goes directly into my soil and actually contributes to growing more plants, which takes more carbon out of the atmosphere. So it doesn't work the same way that they're thinking it does. So I don't even know how to answer some of these questions. How often does your household have milk, cheese, or other dairy products? And here again, like, I buy milk, but not a whole lot. And with it, I will make my own cheese. So again, like, the cheese that I consume, for the most part, has a lower carbon footprint than what they would expect because you don't have the transport and the packaging. So, like, the results are going to be, actually, at the end of this, probably high. This is probably, 18.3 is probably high. How big is your household living space? I don't know. It's... Yeah, that's probably about right. Ish. Meh. Do you have any pets? Okay, so I'm gonna put yes, and then I'm gonna show you why that doesn't work. Because they only look at cats and dogs. You can't have any kind of pet other than cats or dogs. So I'll say no. Even though I raised quail and rabbits. Do they count as pets? Probably should. How else does your household get around? Yeah, sometimes I'll walk. The nearest store is like a mile away, but I will walk that. I don't really give a shit. Sometimes it's nice. Even when it's 105 out. It's still, sometimes it's nice to walk that. How much does your household spend on furniture and appliances? What? How much does your household spend on clothes? What? I have a sewing machine. I fix clothes. How much does your household spend on all other stuff each bunch? I mean, I buy things, and this is the smallest. So, that one, I guess. Sure. How much does your household spend on services per month? Yeah, I have like a couple of like Netflix. Phone bills. I do not have health insurance. Phone bills, the way my phone bill works, I don't know how to factor that in. How much electricity does your household use? This is actually really accurate in the summer. In the cooler months, though, it is much more like this. So, on average, it's between these two numbers, but I don't know if there isn't an option for that. And fuck it, I'm not putting in custom. I'm not putting that much effort into this. How much renewable energy does your household purchase or produce? A little bit actually. I do have some solar panels. I want to build a wind turbine, but my current battery array is actually not capable of even accepting all of the solar that I currently produce. So it would kind of be stupid of me to put on more production capacity without adding more storage capacity. And storage capacity is honestly the expensive thing, so yeah, that's where we're at. How much natural gas does your household use? None, it's not hooked up for that. Yes. Resubmit, sure, why not? Because it's the same thing. And it's sitting here pretending that it's different. Yay, that's the same number. Take action! This is where it gets all bullshitty. Okay, choose a subscription plan. La 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 la. We gotta pay money to fix it. Ooh. No. No. Why? What the fuck? Here's what that means. This is gonna take me back down. This means spend money. Look at that. Look at that again. Your household's carbon footprint is 18.3 tons of CO2. Here's what that means. Take action. Give us money. Your annual emissions are equivalent to 51% of a humpback whale's weight. What? 4 cows burping per year. Also, I like this. So your footprint is this. That's 1.9 times the world average. Recall that when I put this in here, it was for 2 people. Right? Me and one of my children. Since I have 2 children and they're with me half the time, I figured that's pretty accurate. So it's 2 people. And I'm 1.9 times the world average with 2 people. And for as reasonably as possible, I put in the correct answers. And if anything, it was an overestimate of my carbon footprint. So honestly, per capita, my household is below the world average. And they're still trying to guilt me. Really? Huh. And look at this. Goods and services, fuck all compared to that. Home and pets, meh, about average. Diet, below average. Transport, well below average. Energy usage, somewhat below average. Like, at no points am I like fucking over the world, honestly. If the average footprint was this, the Earth would warm by 1.5 degrees Celsius within 5 and just over a half years. Look at that. Tell me that's not trying to guilt trip your ass. And then, oh, give us money, fund offsets, carbon removal, climate policy and conservation, all in one subscription. Oh, give us money. No. No. If you're going to give anybody money, fucking give farmers money so that they can farm. It's like what I was talking about earlier with Kiva. Fund farmers in poor-ass countries that have a net import of food. Fund them. Because what's going to happen if they're farming decently, right? They're going to produce more food. What does that do? That pulls carbon out of the fucking atmosphere. And it feeds people. It makes them happy. It makes them less likely to go to war, less likely to fight, less likely to have, those sorts of issues. That makes for a better world. And a better climate. Oh my god. Yeah, no. What the fuck?